You are listening to the Girl Talk Podcast. Hello there. My name is Carol.
Hey, I'm Tricia.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are so glad you've joined us today. You hear her sweet voice on the Girl Talk Podcast. Maybe you even listen to her on middays on the Light FM, but do you really know her? We're going to go into the depths. This episode we're going to call the Tricia Hot Seat.
Wow.
Because you're on the hot seat.
I might flash.
So we've come up with some questions to ask you.
Oh,
Some
boy.
of these are going to be light. Some of the other ones might be a little bit deeper, so you can go a little bit deeper into your story. So,
Okay.
And they may have like sub questions to them.
Questions.
Questions and sub questions, all that stuff. So we're going to start out by saying if you came into work one day and somebody said you have the whole day off, what would be your perfect day? You got the entire day off. You can do anything you want to. Money's no object. You can go anywhere you want to. What would be your perfect day?
Oh. There's a perfect day that's like somewhat realistic, and then there's the perfect day.
I mean, who likes realistic? Let's be unrealistic.
Okay.
Come on.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like totally.
All right.
You can get on a jet, go anywhere in the world.
Okay.
All right.
What do you dream about?
Well, I would like to, if this is my perfect day, I don't have to fly because I don't like to fly.
Okay, yeah.
I would
I'm sorry, I
magically
forgot.
appear
Okay.
in
Beam
Hawaii.
her up, Scotty. Beam her
me
up.
up and place me down
Okay.
on Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. Hawaii is like, to say it's a bucket list doesn't quite do it justice because it's something I've dreamed about my whole life.
Really?
Yes, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. I think it started like when the Brady Bunch went or something like that. But I've always wanted to go to Hawaii.
Wow. What is it? What is it about Hawaii?
So gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's
it
so
is.
gorgeous. The pictures, the beaches, just like even the palm trees, the sand, it's so gorgeous. I've just always wanted to go to Hawaii. So I would grab my husband. I think I would grab the kids too.
No, leave them behind.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, we would go to like a romantic little getaway there in Hawaii and just take advantage of all the beauty there. You know, I'd love to do like the luau. I'd love to learn the hula. I'd like to try surfing just for fun. I'm sure I'd knock some ribs out of position, but I'd still try.
Video that, please.
Yes.
And do it in a hula skirt.
Okay, but here you got to make me a promise. If this ever does come true,
Yes.
you got to eat fresh pineapple.
Oh, yeah.
It is like the most wonderful thing and so unlike any pineapple you've had here.
Have you been to Hawaii?
Yes, I have.
I'm so jealous,
Yeah,
Carol.
I
Okay.
have. And the fresh pineapple there, I ate so much, I got sores on the inside of my mouth. It was so bad. Yeah,
Really?
the acid was, I mean, I couldn't quit eating it.
Because they have the pineapple growing places. there.
Yes.
That would be fun to go see.
Yes.
Do y'all remember? Okay, so, right, I know you know Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So
Not
one
personally.
of the...
He works at the McDonald's in Marion.
I
if
heard
you're wondering.
that. One of the first movies that I ever watched, it was a VHS tape of Blue Hawaii.
Yeah.
Was him and some gorgeous girl, and I would watch that thing, and she lived on a pineapple plantation, and they would eat pineapple, and I think that might have been part of what, like, my whole fascination of Hawaii was. Started like that long ago because of a VHS tape of Blue Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
so I
fun.
would be in Hawaii with my husband David, just taking advantage of every piece of it. It would be hard to sleep because I'd want to get up and I'd want to see the volcanoes and the sunsets and then do the luau's and the things and eat the pineapples.
That would be a very full day off.
And then I'd be back to work, sleeping on the job.
I'm thinking we could probably make a case that would be excellent show prep. So maybe we could, make it a work.
All
trip
right,
or
a
something.
work trip. Yes, I
Except
will.
there's still that plane thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we haven't invented teleportation yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Hey,
All right.
We'll work on it.
Good
For
point,
you,
good point.
Tricia, anything. Okay, second question. What's your most prized possession? Your most prized possession.
Well, I know I'm supposed to say my Bible, right? I mean,
Well,
right?
okay.
And I love my Bible, and
Sure,
it's so
sure.
It's so
Besides
meaningful.
that.
Okay. Honestly, this is going to sound ridiculous.
No.
Honestly, it's my car.
What?
It's my car.
Hey, tell us more.
My car is so much more than a car.
Okay.
It's a passport to freedom.
Ooh.
You know, in my car, I have moments. I have moments where I just breathe and nobody's asking anything of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can sit there and I can play whatever song I want to hear. I can turn the air conditioning up or I can turn it down and turn the heat on. I can, make my own little oasis. Also, I can use my car to go see my dad. I can use my car to go take the kids. It represents just the part of my, just a real precious part of my life, that I can go and do things, and then I can also have a little me time. I've got gel in my car. I've got my tennis racket in my car. I'm like ready to go, and I feel good when I get in my car. It smells like me. You know what I mean? It's got like a little like essential oil.
You just inspired me sharing that, because like so often I look at my car as just like a utility thing that I have to use to get to one place to another. I don't treat it like a sanctuary, but that sounds like
it is. But I want to hear a story about how you've used your car. Something
Tell me a moment.
Happened in your car, something that's been life-changing, some sort of story.
I've gotten some of the best sleep I've ever gotten in my car. And that's the truth. Oh, yes. Especially when I was doing mornings, when I was really tired.
Yeah.
I would have to go to the grocery store. So I would pull up to the grocery store, turn the car off, roll down the windows, back the seat up, and I would sleep until I'm drooling on myself, snoring. I woke myself up snoring many times in my car. I'm just so relaxed in my car.
I would love to have seen people's faces as they walked by.
Yes.
That'd have been fun.
I've seen other people sleeping in their car. So
at the grocery store was your favorite place.
Yes. I mean, you got to have a little rest before you go in there and tackle that job.
That's the truth.
But no, I love my car. And like dates in the car. David and I, especially when COVID was really raging, the only thing we had was the car as a private place away from the boys.
Right.
So we would drive to go pick up our food. And we would put our masks on, get our food, and we'd come back to the car, and it was just our little place.
Does your car have a name?
So many people do that. I have done that before, but I don't really have a name for it. But it's red, and I love red.
Ruby.
Red.
Huh?
We could call her Ruby.
Ruby. I like it.
There we
just
call her Ruby.
Named your car for
She's got to get an oil change. A good old Ruby. I'm not taking good care of her, but I really do appreciate my car. As silly as that sounds.
So I have another question for you. You mentioned food.
Yeah.
And how you eat food in your car.
Yes, I do.
What is your favorite food? A food that you cannot turn down.
I think I know the
anytime
answer
it's
to this
offered.
one.
What do you think it is?
You
Carol?
guys know me.
What do you think our favorite food is? Carol?
I think it's nachos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best food in the world. I eat it. I bet I eat nachos 5 times a week, every single week, and have for 7 years.
Okay, so what are your nacho toppings?
It's not that exciting. It's really not, but okay, I'll get like a whole grain tortilla chip because it somehow makes me feel better. And 2% cheese for the same reason. Same reason. And then, it's sometimes I'll put jalapenos on there. Sometimes I'll put sour cream on there. Sometimes I'll put onions. Sometimes I'll put like deli meat, something like that, or green peppers, something like that. It doesn't matter. That's the great part about nachos. It's like a blank slate, and you can create what it is that you want from the nacho. Basically, all you need are chips and salsa. Everything else, you can mix, you can match. It's like Garanimals.
Yeah.
Remember your Garanimals clothes?
Right. You match the tags.
So delicious.
Yeah. And I've honestly, and this has actually happened, and she will verify this, I've actually made nachos myself and sent her a picture because she's inspired me to eat more nachos. So
nice.
Glad to be associated
I've got
with the
chicken
nacho
fajitas for lunch today. Does that?
That's
hey,
close.
I say bueno.
Close?
I say bueno to that. That's what I say.
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to turn the corner, do some more serious questions, but they don't have to be serious if you don't want to. But what's your biggest struggle? If you're being vulnerable and saying, okay, here's my biggest struggle, what would that be for you?
And really there too. So I'm trying to decide which of the two do I
you
really
can do
want to
two.
share. Well, I would say, honest to Pete, this sounds awful because you're going to think.
No judgment.
So it's
We all
pride.
struggle.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's pride.
No.
And I'm struggling so hard with that right now because I want what I want, and I want it when I want it.
Yeah.
And that's problematic when there are other people in your life that have needs. And so I find myself making a lot of selfish choices, and I feel so badly about that. Literally, I've been on my bed and I've cried out, God, please help me to not be selfish. Maybe selfishness is a better word for it, but I think it probably stems from pride. Just the desire to have my own way and the desire to, I don't know. It's just such a yucky thing to admit. I actually really can't believe I'm actually talking about this publicly.
Well, but
it is something I don't like about myself, and I want to try to not do.
I think we all struggle with that if we're honest.
Well, and performers,
Yeah.
it's bad because we want to be liked and we want to make a connection. And then there's the ugly side of that, which is we want someone to notice. And I don't like that. And it's something that I'm trying to really actively work against. I've been, done a lot of reading on having a servant's heart and trying to serve. And I have an amazingly generous and kind husband. And the problem with that is I can take advantage of that. And it's not good. And I know kind of how to work it. And it's awful. So that's something I'm really trying to grow in that area and have a servant's heart instead of seeking to be served.
What are you doing to try to grow in that area?
Just Bible study and prayer. I will try to get up and I'll read, like as Christ did, have a servant's heart, and then I'll try to make a choice to serve. And when I'm really doing it, then I will go out of my way to say to David, my husband, so how can I help you today? Can I, or I will sacrificially praise him, because sometimes I withhold that, which is not good. And I say, hey, I see how hard you're working. That's when I'm on, when I'm doing it well. And when I don't, I'm just like,
yeah.
Can't you unload the dishwasher for me?
Yeah.
And I'm working on all of those things. And I don't know. That's probably my biggest struggle. Second to people pleasing, which is also part of that, which is like, if I please you, you're going to like me, and that's going to make me feel better about myself, which ultimately feeds my pride.
Yeah.
And that selfish piece of me. So I really, guys, I really want to be better at serving and thinking of others and putting other people first. But that is really the hard part. If I'm being straight up honest.
I think you do that more than you give yourself credit for. I think you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Because I think we're always our worst critic. We're hardest on ourselves.
Well, and we know what's in our heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might do the right thing, but don't do it in the right exact way. So that's another piece that I'm working on is in the mornings, really praying God to have a servant's heart, and then to kind of move in the spirit and not the flesh. And that way, that takes care of that motive. Even if the actions are right, I think God's calling me to kind of work on the motive piece too.
Yeah.
What a great prayer to have a servant's heart.
Yeah.
I know.
That's huge. That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm with Carol. I think you do that so much better than you realize.
That's very sweet. I appreciate you girls.
Well, we love you
friends.
a ton. So next question, what part of your story was unexpected?
Well, Many parts of my story were unexpected. I started out in a completely different area with a completely different emphasis. I had no idea I'd be on the radio, for example. I didn't even know about the radio, really. I listened to all those 80s songs, Hungry Like the Wolf, that kind of thing. But nice. I wasn't seeking that out. And so that was surprising how God wove that together.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the most unexpected part of my story so far has been the tragic death of my mom, how that happened, and then having this person in our lives that we are now called on to pray for, who's Holly, who is the woman who caused the accident. And so that is an unexpected piece of my story, and I really don't know what God's doing with it. He has called us to pray for her on a regular basis. I don't know if he's going to... I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get to see her again. I have visions of her hugging my mom in heaven.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't that be a powerful thing? But the death of my mom is probably...
And there may be people listening to this podcast who don't know what happened. So if you will, just brief synopsis of what happened with your mom.
Well, it was 2 years ago, right around this time, that my parents were staying at my house taking care of my kids, because I was doing the morning show at the time. And my husband was out of town on work. And so I had to get up so early that I couldn't come into work when my husband was out of town. So my parents would come up and they would help with the kids on a regular basis. That happened, I don't know. My husband doesn't go out of town a lot. Maybe, 3 times a year, 4 times a year, something like that. Yeah. So they'd come up. It was a Thursday and we'd had a really nice time together. And they were driving back home to their hometown of Kingsport, Tennessee. And the woman, Holly, that I mentioned, she and her boyfriend were in the car together, and they had been doing some drugs. That's been established, and they maneuvered the car, and they were fighting about something, and then the car went over the lane, 3 lanes of traffic, and then she corrected at the last minute and hit my parents, mostly head on, but more on my mom's side. And my mom died as a result of that accident after 2 days. She really didn't gain consciousness again after that very day. And I got to see her in the hospital. Carol was with me. Carol was a godsend to me that day, praying for me, praying with me, driving me to the hospital and sitting with me and all of that. And I did get to see her one more time in the hospital bed before she went into surgery and was not conscious again. I got to tell her how much I loved her, and she was the best mom in the world for me. And it was a blessing. It was a blessing, and some good things have come from it, but it was a hard time. And I'd say my faith was absolutely strengthened from the wrestling that I wrestled with. Why us? Why her? All of those questions. But it was through the wrestling and through those painful times that my faith was strengthened, because I did see God doing what he promised to do, which is walk with us through all the hard times. We talk about it, we sing songs about it, but I experienced it for myself, and I know that he is there.
Yeah, and I'll just say this as, walking through that with you as a friend, just you were so inspiring. I can remember just right after the accident, Tricia did devotions. I'll never forget this day, honestly. Tricia did devotions for our staff, and she went through every step of that day and the days that followed, as painful as it was. And you went through and you recounted how you saw the hand of God at every single, and it honestly was, I'm not speechless very much because I'm usually, the loudmouth, but I couldn't even speak for moments after you'd shared that. It was so meaningful to me and so inspiring to me to look for God, even in the way that you just saw him so soon after that tragedy had happened, was so inspiring to our team. And I've had that conversation with several people in the hallways. And so the way that you walked through that and trusted God through it, just wow.
Well, and I think, too, the other thing that was amazing about your story, too, is how you have wrestled with your faith through the whole thing and looked at God and said, I don't understand. I don't know why.
I don't feel
this.
you.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Right?
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
And you've given permission for other people to do that as well.
Right.
I know I'm one of those people too, is that you sometimes when we'll talk, I'll have a question and you'll say, have you told God that? Have you said that to God? I'm like, I don't know if I can say that to God. And you're like, oh, you can. And so in your journey, you've cared enough, and this is one of the, I want to encourage you, because this is a servant leadership thing where you've gone back and taken people's hand like me who are behind you and said, come this way, and shared from the depths of your pain and what you've learned and helped other people along their way. And that's, man.
And what a story of forgiveness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a God thing. I mean, really, honestly, thank you. And the encouragement means so much. It really, really does. But it's only been God. It's only been God. And I know the prayers and the love and the support that I receive from friends and family and people who listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there were thousands of prayers that were lifted up on my behalf from the people who cared enough to pray for the girl who just introduces the songs on the radio that they listen to. And what a precious connection that is, because then I could say, your prayers really did make a difference. And God is good. And the forgiveness thing started with prayer too. I remember the day God said, I want you to pray for her. And I remember thinking, are you kidding me? He was not kidding.
And he's bossy, isn't he?
But he wasn't kidding then. Yeah. Yes.
So hard.
And I did sort of like, God be with her, whatever. It was like the Nineveh prayer or whatever, like rocks in my mouth for weeks, but he called me to do it, and I did it, and I never felt one thing for her welfare, not one thing. And then one day, I remember sitting on the bed going, wow, she must feel terrible about what happened. Yeah. She must carry such guilt, such pain. Yeah. And to know that you were part of that must be so hard. And I remember sitting there and I realized I actually care. I care about how she feels. And I knew it was God. I mean, that doesn't come from trying, it just comes from God's goodness. And the way he loves and forgives us then allows us to take those baby steps forward until we finally can take a few steps and move into that forgiveness. That's been very powerful. And he did the same thing in my sister and my father's hearts as well. So it was a very powerful piece of it. And I hope that there's more to the story, but I don't know.
Yeah. And that you're willing to trust God with that in the middle of it.
We email her about once a month, and we just say, hey, we're rooting for you. God loves you. Stuff like that. I haven't heard from her, but we did hear from her lawyer that she's doing really well in treatment. Her treatment probably ends pretty soon, but she's doing really well, and that she's reconciled with her children. And she told her counselor that the only reason she's been able to try so hard is because of the grace and the forgiveness that we gave her, which is the grace and forgiveness that God has given me. So,
wow.
So powerful.
What a testimony. Yeah.
So what is God teaching you right now?
The servant's heart thing is really a big piece of it. And also not to just have a loose hold on this world. It's so hard because I feel like, this matters and that matters and it matters so much, and I've spent so much energy and so much time on this and that really doesn't have an eternal consequence. So I think he's kind of teaching me to kind of have a looser grip on the stuff around me. Even something as silly as tennis. I love to play tennis. And sometimes I play tennis well, and sometimes I don't. I get so mad and so frustrated, and I feel like God's like using that to be like, this is not that big of a deal, If you can be a light on the tennis court, great. If you can't, let it go.
Yeah.
And so just little things like that, I think he's teaching me to kind of keep looking more at him than what's happening around me. I hope that he's coming back soon. I'm hoping.
And let me just say, you're a light wherever you go.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You can't argue with me because I see you every day. That's true. And okay, last question. What's one piece of wisdom that you've been given that maybe you didn't realize at the time was wisdom, but it's been true in life?
Okay, yes. I saw that one, and I knew immediately what because you sent me that list earlier.
Sure.
I knew immediately what I wanted to say about that one, which is this, that memories are so much more important than stuff, that wealth and riches and things like that are super fleeting. And I have to remind myself that a lot because money's not easy come by. We're not like rolling in it, that kind of thing. But when I grew up, we were very wealthy. We were extremely wealthy. I didn't know at the time. You grow up and you think life is normal. Well, we went through a legal situation and we lost all our money. So we lived in a house that was worth a lot of money and didn't even know it. And then, boom, we lost everything. We went bankrupt. And so at the time, that felt like the cruelest thing in the world. And there have been times in my life where it's like, feels so hard that I don't have a lot of extra money, or the family doesn't have a lot of extra money. Like every penny is needed and thought through,
Right.
But it also taught me that is not what it's about.
Yeah.
Having lost it, you realize how fleeting it can be. Even if you think you're not in a position to lose it, it's fleeting. It's fleeting. It goes like that. It comes like that sometimes, and it goes like that. And it's not that important, and it's definitely not the thing to live your life for. And some days I feel like the richest woman in the world because I look around and I see my children and my husband and my dog, and we have a warm home when it's cold outside and a cool home when it's hot outside. And I'm like, wow, I am blessed beyond measure. I come to a job I love. I see people I love. I do something I love, listen to great music. And so I'm really the most wealthy person in the world. You know what I mean? And it taught, I think sometimes for us, I think our whole family, we had to lose our money to realize how little it meant.
Wow, what great perspective.
It is. It's really good. And now you know why we love her so much.
Right.
We got a little peek inside the world that is Tricia, because she is definitely a treat. And I can't remember a time where I've ever seen her it hadn't made me smile. I mean, like when somebody mentions your name, it automatically makes me smile because you're such a vital part of what we do here at Girl Talk. You're such a vital part of what we do at the radio ministry. And for me personally, I know that you, the things that you struggle with, you've done for me. You've been a servant leader in my life. So I want to thank you for that. And I just love being on this journey with you, because I think it's when we take time to answer what seemingly is some silly questions, we really do learn about each other and deepen that relationship. And that's why we do this. But don't think it's over here. because next week we'll be switching the hot seat over to the newest member of the Girl Talk team, Kelly Brandon, and we're going to put you on the hot seat. We're going to stick with the same questions, so all three of us will eventually have to answer those same questions. So
yeah, because the hot seat ain't escaping you either.
That's right.
No, it's not.
That's right. That's right. And you just want to stay tuned for that because I'll have 17 million stories more than you need to hear.
And we might just make up some questions to ask.
Because she gave us these, so we can make up our own.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So don't miss
Send some in.
a single episode because it's going to be so much fun. But thank you, Tricia, for sharing. Thanks for being honest and vulnerable. We love you so much, and we're so glad you're part of the Girl Talk team. And we'll see you next time we gather around these microphones for the next Girl Talk podcast when Kelly Brandon's in the hot seat.